Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Well, there's a party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and everybody's gonna spread the holiday cheer. 'Cause it's Christmas. Whoa, oh, it's the best time of the year.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So we kicked off 2023 with two really rough ones.
Yeah, can I just say, like, it is an absolute fucking travesty that Santa Claus is getting 6 episodes and what we watched today is only getting this 45-minute short.
We're gonna talk about something that I'll start with this. I did not hate this special. I like
Yeah.
this special.
Yeah.
I think that I had the unfortunate case of watching this special after the rest of the internet had watched it and threw all of this, like, the greatest Christmas special that's ever been
Okay.
produced praise on
Yeah,
it.
I
So
get
like
that.
when I sat down and watched it, I kind of felt like,
That was it.
yeah, like I felt
Yeah,
very
I'm
like
with you.
underwhelmed by it because of that.
We legit watched it the day it came out.
And I think if I
So-
watched it the day it came out, I'd be like, oh my God, it's so good. But like,
Yeah.
this was definitely a like, calm down, internet.
Yeah, this was like certain things, and I do really like this, but I almost think it's also piggybacking on the fact that everything new I've watched so far for Christmas this year has been so shitty that I'm like, oh, this was fucking great.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I don't think that this would be an every year watch for me,
No,
but
no,
maybe
no.
like an every other year
Yeah.
thing. Like, I'd be like, oh, that was fun. Like, now,
Yeah.
there's a movie that we're going to be talking about in a couple weeks, and you haven't watched it yet. That's why we aren't recording it yet.
Yeah.
Which is, at this point in time, the only new thing this year that I'm like, yep, that's going in the yearly watch bucket.
Yeah.
I don't want to overhype it too much, though, because I am terrified that we hit record and you're like, I fucking hated it.
I don't think I will, man.
I don't think you will either, but I don't want to predict
Yeah.
emotions here.
Yeah.
But we are talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday
Fuck
special
yeah.
that dropped on Disney Plus. It is the end of Phase 4. Thank fucking Christ.
Which is, now that you just said that, the Phase 4 really did end the way that it came through, like just with the burp. Yeah, because this is good, but this is what we wanted to end Phase 4 on. Like, I'm so confused with
I
this
feel like
era
all of
Marvel.
Phase 4 could be described as, I mean, it was good, question mark. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's how I felt with most of the movies. I didn't outwardly hate any of them, but I was just
I
like, this
hated
is
Ragnarok.
That, you mean Love and Thunder?
Or Love and Thunder.
Haven't watched that yet. Still haven't seen Wakanda
Fuck,
Forever.
dude. I could have swore I thought we ended up talking about
No,
Love and Thunder.
it's been sitting on my watch list, and no one's really been enthusiastic about it. So it's made it real hard to be like, I'm going to sit down and watch this for 2 hours.
I think you need to. I really
Well,
need to talk about that movie with someone that will genuinely have a conversation with me about it.
But all right, so this Guardians of the Galaxy thing, it's the second to last thing James Gunn will be doing for the MCU.
So he's doing one more Guardians and then he's
movie.
done.
And then he's done. And he's said on the record that it's like it is a definitive conclusion to the Guardians saga as far as he sees it.
They all go out the Rogue One style.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they all die. I honestly would not be shocked if he killed a couple characters.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either. I mean, everybody's kind of turned their back on Chris Pratt, so I'm sure he's like, fuck it, send me off into the
just blow me up. I could care less. Chris Pratt is weirdly the person with the least amount of screen time in his own holiday special. It's strange.
This is very true, and I'm scared to put this out into the ether. I kind of like Chris Pratt again.
Yeah, I have never disliked Chris Pratt. So there was a podcast. I'm not sure if you ever listened to it, and for the life of me, I have forgotten what this podcast is called, which is embarrassing. Yeah. But it was Renee from WWE and AEW, Dean Ambrose's wife. She had a podcast with her friend in Canada, and they would talk about stuff. And their big
so this
thing
is different than the Oral Sessions show?
Yes, this was literally just her and a friend talking like whatever the fuck.
Okay.
And they had this ongoing campaign, which was bring back Fat Pratt. Which they're like, we're not even talking about body image stuff. They're like, we're talking about the personality that was Fat Pratt versus like slender, like in shape Chris Pratt. We're just two very different personality types. Yeah. And like, we want a return of the Fat Pratt personality, which was just like the bubbly, goofy best friend that you could hang out with. And like something happened around like the Jurassic World movies where that started to really fall apart, and he was like action star Chris Pratt.
I know he's getting ripped to shreds over the Mario stuff.
Which, whatever.
Dude, it's as soon as it was announced that Illumination was doing Mario.
Yeah, you already wrote it off. You're
I mean, I'm like, I'll watch it. But I mean, I'm not gonna sit. It's not for me.
No, it's the same as whenever Sony is behind some type of Marvel property, I already like mentally, I'm like, well, this is gonna not be as good as I want it to
exactly.
be. Like I've already made that deal in my head, and then I get to be surprised and excited when it's better than I anticipated. Like,
and you know what? I don't know if you've watched any of the Super Mario trailers recently. But
I saw the very first one and said, huh.
Yeah. And they just put out a new one, and it was pretty good, dude. Yeah. The fucking Mario Kart's in it. Rainbow Road. Donkey Kong shows up and beats the shit out of Mario. It's fucking great.
Look, we've already had this conversation a million times. The internet decides that they are ready to vilify and hate somebody, and like that is the case. And my thing is like, I don't think Chris Pratt's hurting anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he's a little weird. I think he's a little too religious, and he is very coy about his voting record, which like is totally within his right. This is like a thing that has changed in the last couple of years where like we used to be like never talk about religion, never talk about your politics in public,
and now some people fucking
that's all they want to talk about. But like I don't think that. Look, man, like literally today the news story on Rolling Stone is like Kanye West says, I like Hitler. Like, I don't think Chris Pratt's on that level.
Exactly. Like, listen, I understand that he is, and it may be worse than this. I don't know. I may be out of the know. Yeah. But he's like attending a church that is
questionable with what it believes.
With questionable beliefs. Dude, it's not that I don't care. Like, I wish he wouldn't do that. But at the same time, it's like, it's not my prerogative. Like, I mean, it's his. And it's like, do I enjoy his entertainment? Yes. I enjoy the entertainment of a lot of fucking people who are shitty. Some people way fucking worse than he was. We've talked about shows put on by people way fucking worse than he is. Yeah. There is a way to separate art from the artist.
Art from the artist. I mean, I don't
think he's that bad.
No, I would actively, this is going to sound insane, I would actively want to hang out with Chris Pratt sooner than I want to hang out with Dan Harmon. And I
Fuck
think that
yeah.
Dan Harmon and I probably agree on a lot more stuff.
Yep.
But he seems like a way shittier person to spend time around.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, this is not what this show is about. It's about the joy of Christmas.
Yeah.
The joy of Christmas that comes to me right away when I watch the special is that they do this very cool, like, almost like a throwback to the CBS TV special thing where it's like the as it's like cutting across the word like a Marvel special or whatever.
So what's funny is when they do the Marvel special, did you notice the Marvel logo?
No.
The Marvel logo itself, like the interstitials with the movies are still the same because it's the Marvel Studios movies. They haven't done a holiday thing except for Iron Man 3. The comic strips portions are all pulled from Christmas editions of the comics. So it's really
dope.
cool. It's a really quick, like 2 seconds.
That
but you know
is
it does like
such
the
an-
flip through. It's so funny. Like you see like comic book Santa and shit like that. It's so fun.
Such
and then
an unnecessary detail.
Christmas, and then they got the Christmas lights around the Marvel logo. I'm like,
Yeah,
cool.
it's nice. It's nice.
It's cool.
And,
It's cool.
And then my ass was loving that this kicks off with
Dude.
the Pogues.
The Pogues kicked in, and I immediately was like, "You're gonna love the Guardians soundtrack." I think I texted you and was like, "The soundtrack's so good," and that was I had heard the Pogues, and then 2 songs later came my fucking Christmas jam, Christmas Tree.
Yeah, we'll get in there. But
Yeah.
so the Pogues kick in. I also was like overhyped by this because someone said that it pulls a lot of influence from the Star Wars holiday special.
Literally, the influence being there's a cartoon portion.
And the animation style that they went
Yes,
with is
the
very
animation
similar
style, yes.
to that. When I heard that, my weird brain was like, "Oh my god, are we doing Life Day but with Groots? Like a bunch of Groots just
that
saying
would be
Groot."
so adorable.
That's like what was in my head.
and
so
you
then
know
I'm like,
a
"Oh, we're
certain
not."
section of the internet would fucking hate that.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Fuck 'em.
And I'm for it.
But yeah, so we get this like cute animation
Little
segment
baby
that's
Groots
showing.
twerking with Cardi B.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we get this cute little section that kind of shows the very first Christmas for Star-Lord, and Yondu
Sean
like
Gunn's
straight up kicks
character.
over the tree and is like, we don't fucking celebrate Christmas in this place. You know what I mean? Like
I was waiting for Rooker to bust out a fucking right there because it really was like he was real fucking close. And
I'm
the
wondering if we get a DVD of this, will there be like a director's
there's
cut?
gotta be. And
But,
the whole thing is like Peter's teaching Kraglin, Sean Gunn's character, about Christmas, because that's like the that's how it ends, is after fucking Yondu flips out and starts busting the Christmas tree at the ground, it cuts to Kraglin in real life and is like, and that's how Yondu ruined Christmas.
Is Sean Gunn is just a gem of a human being.
So good, dude. So good.
But yeah, so we cut to that. That's how Yondu ruined Christmas. And then we get the strangest cameo in this movie, which is the old 97s performing as a bunch of aliens doing this awesome song of their version of Christmas.
Can we just go back a second? I feel like I've been pretty up to date with Marvel Phase 4 movie-wise.
If you're asking me a question about Phase 4, you have picked the absolute wrong person. Again, I have not seen Love and Thunder or Wakanda Forever yet.
So that's right. I haven't seen Wakanda either. At one point, Nebula says, ever since we bought Nowhere from the Collector, like, we just haven't had any time to rest. And I'm like, these motherfuckers just bought a planet? Like, and nobody talked about that?
No one brought
like,
it
when
up.
did that happen? I guess it was mentioned in here. There was a lot of those moments where it was like, we bought a planet. And then Mantis is like, I'm Peter's sister. And I'm like, did we talk about that at some point? Like, I know that was mentioned in the second movie.
So the Peter sister thing, because I literally listened to the Geekscape episode breaking this down.
Yeah.
And I think they said that is like an after credits segment of maybe Guardians 2.
Okay.
Or some other movie. There is like an after credit. I want to say it's Guardians 2. There's like an after credit sequence that shows Mantis's mom with Kurt Russell's character.
Okay,
And that's
all
like
right.
how that's established.
It's got to be something different because I think the credit scene for Guardians 2 was supposed to be the reveal of Zac Efron as what's his face, Adam Warlock.
Yeah. I was like, when was Mantis's mom shown in Marvel? Let's see. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 cut scene with Mantis's mom reveal. There we go. So
Sweet.
they filmed something and then it didn't make it and we just had to piece it together ourselves.
All right. So it didn't bother me too much, but I did like for a second go like, did I fucking miss something? Like, what did I was like, they probably wouldn't have brought this up in the Eternals, and I didn't see that. Like when did this happen? But yes, going back to the 97s, because this shit was awesome.
This song rules. This is a great song.
Amazing.
This song rules so much that when they do the updated version that's more accurate, I'm like, no. I want the insane made up bullshit version of this song.
Yeah, and I love it. Like, the band comes in as aliens, and is this before? This is after Cosmo.
Yeah, they do hint at Cosmo. They bring in Cosmo for a second, who I think will be a big part of Volume 3, which is dope.
I'm excited for that because I remember we got a cameo by Cosmo in Guardians, I believe, and that was neat. I really like I really want those treats over there. You got like that shit just made me chuckle. But yeah, Peter comes across this alien band, and they're like, "Hey, we wrote this song for Christmas. Can you tell us how accurate it is?" Because they got their information from Kraglin, or no, they got their information from Rocket, who got their information from Cosmo, who got their information from Kraglin. So the old 97 song begins innocent enough with, hey, it's Christmas, it's about Santa, woo woo. And then it turns into like Santa Claus having a fucking flamethrower and like trying to pipe some like chicks and stuff. Like it is amazing. It is a fantastic Christmas jam all throughout. Chris Pratt, of course, giving those, oh, what? This isn't right facial expressions.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the part where the lead singer's fucking arm is twirling completely in a circle. I don't know if you noticed this, but his arm is just going around and around and around and around. And Peter literally goes, "How are you doing this?"
Yeah, I love that. See, here's the thing that I like about the Guardians of the Galaxy movies in general, is that, I mean, they're obviously Star Wars. It's James Gunn's Star Wars. He's doing Star Wars. But James Gunn remembers that as a kid, the dopest parts of watching Star Wars is the fucking cantina and Jabba's palace scene where there's just a bunch of weird-ass aliens.
Yep.
And he's just like, all right. Like, if they're traveling around the galaxy, there should be weird-ass aliens fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, so I do appreciate that it's like, for Star Wars, it's like, man, there's a lot of people who look like humans on these different planets.
Yeah.
And like for James Gunn stuff, it's like there's about 5 people that look like people in this.
It's so
which
fun,
is dope.
dude. And the plot picks up as they're trying to figure out how to cheer Peter up. Because not only is it Christmas, but he's also still fucking bummed because of the whole Gamora mess. Yeah. So they're like, let's make him happy. What can we do? And my God, I'm not sure a series has got, I'm not sure any other series has gotten this long of a play on a throwaway bit joke.
Yeah.
Because,
they really, I like because I haven't watched the Guardians films in a really long time. I'm like, did he really bring up Kevin Bacon that much in those movies?
Like the fucking Kevin Bacon thing. We're gonna kidnap Kevin Bacon, which is just a like, again, we could be wrong. We are definitely not a Marvel podcast, but I'm pretty sure it's just like a throwaway line. Like it's a throwaway line, and then it comes back at the end because he wins with a dance off. Yeah. So, but it's so weird to me that that's the direction they went. They're like, remember
they went with it. So yeah, Drax and Mantis decide, all right, we're going to go find this Kevin Bacon. And this is where you get this punk rock version of I Wish It Was Christmas Today from
I
SNL.
wish it was Christmas today. And I have that version on my playlist because the SNL one isn't on like Apple Music at all.
It's a fun little punky version of I Wish It Was Christmas Today. After a little bit of confusion, they are tipped up. They end up in a bar that is very reminiscent to Nightmare on Elm Street 2's bar. In a lot of ways.
Yes, it is.
Where I'm like, I don't know if this bar is what I think this bar is.
And that's funny because I was watching it and I was like, oh, I think they are. Like, and I couldn't. I was like, man, all right.
It's very vague, but that's the vibe I get.
Yes.
I will say, I feel like the scene goes a little too long.
It does.
It's it's an unreasonable amount of this like fairly short special is them getting drunk in this bar.
So the bartender is played by what is his name? Flula Borg, and he has been like just popping up in random things. Like people are very fond of him. He was in Pitch Perfect 2. He was in the Suicide Squad, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Good Place. He's done a ton of stuff with Conan. Like, he has been popping up recently very often. I just don't find him funny. I just don't find him funny.
I mean,
so
I might be in the same boat because you named a lot of stuff that I watch and like, and I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah, I don't know. I knew there were going to be like cameos in this, and I was really disappointed by those cameos. Because yes, the old 97s, that song ripped, but I wish it was a band that I was into.
Yeah, I mean, I like the old 97s, but like my connection with the old 97s is that they did a lot of songs I liked in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like if it was like fucking Green Day where I'm like, my childhood fandom of Green Day.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
No, it's very
Real
different.
Big Fish is there.
Yeah.
Because you know that'd be some off-the-wall shit that like James Gunn would do. Because you're
well,
like,
let's talk about this for a second.
There's Lloyd Kaufman in the background of...
James Gunn and I may have the same Christmas playlist, is what I concluded. Because
That's
at
what
one
I'm
point,
saying. Yep.
Fountains of Wayne, I Want an Alien for Christmas also shows up, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
We have talked about that. When that song started playing, I was like, I think we've talked about this song on the podcast before.
Yeah, it's possible that we have.
Yeah, like it's just popped up.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. I'm Shane O'Hare of the Geekscape Games Podcast, the #1 video game podcast on the Geekscape.network. Join myself, Derek Krenevelt, and a guest every fortnight as we discuss video game news, video game reviews, and dissections. That's Geekscape Games every 2 weeks on Geekscape.net.
My notes kind of get smaller and smaller as the show went on, but they get kicked out of the bar.
Yep.
Someone suggested they get a map to the stars to find Kevin Bacon. And for like 5 seconds, there's just this crazy fucking animation of them moving through the map.
Them going through the map, yeah.
But then we get this stupid joke that I love so very much that Kevin Bacon is watching Santa Conquers the Martians on TV just before they show up.
Yeah.
And then, yes, Drax and Mantis show up. This is where we get the Fountains of Wayne song. Yeah. And slowly they realize that he's not a great warrior like they were led to believe, but an actor.
So do you know like the part that made me go like, I just wish they would have went a little bit further with that. When they talk about him taking on Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
And he just responds with, well, actually, I got an arrow through the throat.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and me being the asshole that I was in the chair going, and it wasn't even Jason. It was his mom.
Yeah. Of course you did, mumbling. But this leads to my favorite.
Like, I feel like Teddy was like, what? I said it wasn't even Jason. It was his mom that stabbed him in the throat.
And I don't even remember what the line is, where this line comes in, but this leads to the only line of dialogue I wrote down, which is, he's not a loser. He's great. We don't hate him at all.
I think it's because, like, fucking Mantis is like, he's an actor.
Yeah,
and
we hate
Drax
actors.
is like, oh, we hate actors. They're repulsive. Which, fucking A, I absolutely adore Dave Bautista. Like,
He's so
I
good.
think I could watch him in pretty much anything at this point.
He
He
is-
just makes me smile.
It's really funny to think about. At one point in time, the closest we ever got to a wrestler moving into acting was Hulk Hogan.
Fucking
and
A. And those
it was
movies were
rough and
awful.
it was rough and bad. And we'll probably be talking about one just in time for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but then it's like in the last couple years we've had 3 or 4 of these people just fucking take the ball and run with it and absolutely crush it in that transition. And given how much acting is involved in wrestling, you feel like the percentage should be way higher.
It's dumb because I always talk to people we've taken our fair amount of shit for being wrestling fans. Not as much as people will claim. Oh, you made fun of for being a wrestling fan. But we've got friends who's I don't know how you watch that fake shit.
Yeah.
It's just combat theater, guys. It's literally combat theater. That's what
it's also
wrestling
on
is.
Television, which is also filled with fake shit.
Exactly. I just don't understand.
It's a television show where people fake things.
Right, exactly. Can you believe, though, that at one point, WWE did not believe that, Guardians was going to do anything?
Yeah.
That's fucking wild to me. Absolutely wild to me.
But yeah, in the last 15 years, maybe 20 years, because I'm older than I ever give myself credit for. It was The Rock, who had a rough start, you know what I mean? But now it's oh no, this is a legitimate the dude
that's what
can
he
fucking
is
act.
now.
Yeah,
that's what he is now. That's what he's known
and
for
John
now.
Cena and Dave Bautista saw that and went after it. And it's I sometimes sit there and I'm who is going to be next? Who is going to be the next person?
I think John Cena and Dave Bautista kind of did it right. Mostly Dave Bautista did it right because Dwayne came out and did the action movie thing and is still doing the action movie thing. He's still an action movie star. And when John Cena did it, I think he was very bland and very, oh, it's just another wrestler becoming an action movie star. What's cool about that?
Yeah, John Cena didn't really take off until he started doing his comedy stuff.
Doing comedy stuff.
Yeah.
And Dave Bautista kind of skipped that portion. He had done other
he found
stuff.
the perfect balance, though.
Yeah.
Guardians was this perfect balance where he could be an action star and a comedic actor
Yeah.
at the exact same time.
Fuck, he just
And
makes me laugh, man.
He does. He's so, and he's
so
a person
cute.
who
He's so
bores me to
adorable.
death as a wrestler. When I see
Yeah.
him show up in a wrestling match, I'm oh no.
Yeah.
But
It
when he's in a
depends.
movie, I'm
I
oh,
do
I'll
love-
watch it.
I do love certain times heel Batista.
Keep in mind, my first exposure to Dave Bautista was literally Blue Tista.
Was
I
it really? Oh
yeah,
my,
I was
I
what is
forget
this?
sometimes that
Yeah,
you were
no,
not,
I didn't come into
you were
wrestling
not
until the Wyatts were what brought me into wrestling.
That's
so
that's wild.
yeah. All right. Well, they show that it's Kevin Bacon. Peter does not take this well. He's you
Oh,
fucking
but dude,
kidnapped somebody.
Hold on. Did you not get a tear in your eye at first though? When
Oh,
they,
yeah,
'cause
no.
That's the moment Peter comes into nowhere and you can tell he's bummed, but that they turn the planet or that little section of the planet.
Oh, that part.
into
I think if they
the
just did that, they would have been
most
fine.
beautiful,
Oh, it's
Christmas
great.
Village style. And Peter's you could tell he's about to cry, and I fucking teared up. So yes, this did make me cry. And that's when he's like, he's sitting there and everything goes quiet. And you just hear Kevin Bacon go like, "Hey, I can't breathe in here. Can we put some holes in this thing?" Because Kevin Bacon is still under a trance. Mantis had to put him into a trance to be okay with being on the ship. So he comes out and he's perfectly fine with everything. And Peter's like, "You put Kevin Bacon under a trance?"
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter does not handle this well.
No, he's not a fan. But Sean Gunn, as he's flying Kevin Bacon back home, is just saying, yeah, people really love Peter. He was such a big fan of yours. He even saved the world through dance because he saw you do it in Footloose. And that's when Kevin Bacon's like, you know what? Everyone knows one thing about Kevin Bacon is that Kevin Bacon fucking loves his fans. So Kevin Bacon is going to skip some Christmas with his family to make sure that this one spaceman that he'll never meet again has a good Christmas. Which is just
turning me around. Let's go back.
I always love the trope of like actor playing themselves in a thing that's just like so we've talked about Clone High already, but one of my favorite lines in any episode of Clone High is there's a whole subplot where the principal hates John Stamos because John Stamos beat him as prom king at their high school homecoming.
Yeah.
And then the principal throws a prom and rigs it so that he'll win prom king. But at the last second, John Stamos just shows up to drop in and visit his favorite friend from high school.
Yeah.
And everyone votes him prom king because they're like, oh my God, it's John Stamos. And the principal stabs John Stamos in the eye with the crown that he was supposed to win.
Christ.
And it's a bloody mess or whatever. But then John Stamos still saves everybody.
Yeah.
And the principal's like, but John, why? I've tried to murder you multiple times. And as he's dying, he just goes, yeah, it just turns out John Stamos is a pretty great guy.
And that's here. Just turns out.
That's the
Kevin
line.
Bacon's
That's
a
the line
pretty
I
great
always
guy.
think of whenever any actor is brought in to play like this amazingly giving person of themselves. It's just like, yeah, it just turns out Kevin Bacon's a pretty great guy.
Yep.
But yeah, we get another song and it's a good time. And then we've already hinted at it, but Mantis is like, Peter, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm your half sister. And Peter's like, oh my God, I get a sister. This is like the greatest Christmas gift I could ever receive.
She was so worried because Peter's father is the reason he lost his mom. And he was worried, or she was worried that he would hate her for it. And it's just another beautiful moment, man.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's like I said, it's a good special, but again, the strikes that I do have to throw on this a little bit is like fucking couldn't it be a standalone? Like it did. Like I didn't need us to have these plot points brought up. Like I did. Like it's like I don't care. Like what?
Plot
like
points?
the mantis. Like the mantis. I'm your sister thing. Like
okay.
Like because if you were watching this without context.
Yeah,
you
you
like,
wouldn't
what the
know
fuck is this?
hell's
Like,
going on.
that's why I wanted it to be the Groot thing because I feel like Groot is like such a well-known character that it's just like, hey, here's like a dumb, fun. I think that's what keeps this from falling into that yearly watch category for me, where they're the Garfield Christmas special. You didn't need to know fucking shit about what was going on in the world of Garfield to watch that Christmas special out of context. You know what I mean? Like, I just want us to have TV show standalone episodes that don't tie to any bigger picture. Like it's easier for us to do episodes on it as well because we don't have to go into it assuming that the audience has kept up with Marvel.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I feel like you could have done this easily with just taking that out.
Yeah.
And I still think this would have been a great special.
This is great. I have this it sounds like I'm complaining, not complaining. Love this. This was a delight. I was really prepared for this to be the Christmas special that I walked away saying, well, that's a yearly watch now. And I didn't. But it was still fun. It was still heartwarming.
It's fun. And that's kind of all I want from my Marvel stuff anymore because I'm tired.
It'd just be fun.
I'm
just
tired, Matt. Like I'm really tired.
I don't want to be the person who complains about there being too many superhero movies, but like there are too many.
There are. We've reached a point where I can't defend it anymore. And I used to be able to defend it. I was like, yeah, but it's all building towards something.
It's all building towards something.
Yeah.
And
that shit was awesome. And it built towards it and it was fucking great.
I think, and I've talked about this on Weird Algorithm, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But I also just think that we are at this point in society where like maybe it's not great for us to have a trillion options of different things to watch. Like I think that the fact that there's like 40 different streaming sites that are all offering their individual exclusive streaming content, like, and I'm not even talking about like from a financial stance, is like when there wasn't the streaming option, when it was like you either DVR'd it or you like watched it live, like there was something to be said about it bringing us closer together because we all like agreed that like Lost was the show that everyone in America was going to watch and talk about, or like The Sopranos was that show, or whatever. And I don't know, man, like this, you only really get that anymore once in a lifetime with like a Game of Thrones or with like an award show, like, or like the only times where it's like everyone unanimously, like everyone is watching the same thing at the same time and like discussing it.
I think that's why I still like watching wrestling.
Yeah. And it's the one thing that unites us because like that's kind of what keeps me out of the loop is because I don't have TV. I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch it the next day. Yeah. Like part of the fun of watching wrestling is being in, well, wrestling is 1,000 times more fun. Even a bad wrestling show is more fun if you're around other people watching it.
Yeah, for sure.
But then also be like, when something fucking wild happens and you like log on to Twitter or Hive or whatever, like Instagram or whatever, people are just like, holy fucking shit. Like it's cool. And the memes start floating in immediately because it's like, wrestling is something you go into knowing like, I can't avoid spoilers. I'm either going to watch it or it's going to be spoiled for me.
And that's why like, and I'll say this all the time. Much like you, I just love event television.
Yeah,
I just
Super
love
Bowl.
event
I
TV.
I could give a shit about football, but I'll watch the Super Bowl.
Hell yeah. But that from the time we're recording this, next Thursday is the Game Awards. And I told Teddy, I was like, it's one of those things that like I hate to be this way, but I need to be home for that.
Yeah,
like, I don't want to do. If we have plans, cancel them. I want to be home because I want to be on my computer. And when they show the trailer for whatever the fuck that we've all just been clamoring for, it's a good moment to just
I want to make more time for like the Emmys and the Golden Globes and the Oscars and stuff, because like it sucks that I haven't been staying on top of movies as much as I used to, but like I still like, you know, even like with the infamous slap last year, like being able to like see that go wild online and be like, wait, what happened? Like I was like having to see it after the fact, but I don't know. We're on such a crazy tangent.
It is, but I will say, I think the thing that distances me from that is just, and we've talked about this before, is the discourse. Like I just don't.
Yeah, it's the conversation after the fact.
The opposite direction.
Yeah.
I just can't do it anymore, man. Yeah. But hey, before we wrap this up, since we've last talked, you've now watched another episode of the Santa Claus.
We're not getting into this.
Come on, man.
I watched two more episodes.
You watched two more.
Well,
that's
I watched
right, because you didn't watch 3.
I watched episode 3
but
and
you watched episode
4.
4, and I said that I would not watch it if it goes a certain way.
And it went that way and more, for sure.
So I'm not watching it.
So
I'll just watch Guardians again.
Okay, we'll get into it very, very quickly.
Very briefly.
What happened was that they officially name Cal Penn's character as the new Santa.
Wild.
And they go and live their normal lives. And the episode is them adjusting to being in the real world, which does draw this interesting line where now they're in a real world society. And the whole point was that so they could spend more time with their dad. But now Scott Calvin is available to them, but they're like making friends at school and they're like having their own jobs and careers. And now like Scott Calvin is left alone all the time while they have lived their own lives. I'm interested where this is going because I'm like,
it ends with like Scott Calvin hanging himself.
Well, so then all of these elves are disappearing, and
oh fuck,
like they're like evaporating because they're like rebelling against Santa because Cal Penn is like launching this new thing that's like Christmas every day. Where it's like, we're going to use the tech that we have at the North Pole to make it Christmas every day. Anything that people wish for, we're just going to deliver it to them right then and there. and the elves are like, "You're going to ruin the
Is
magic
it, like,
of Christmas,"
for a
and it's
fee, or
yeah, I guess. But they're like
if it's
disappearing.
free,
they're
then I'm
vanishing.
like, this guy sounds fucking awesome. Like,
No, he's like, well, and they're like, no, if you make it every day, you're gonna ruin like everything that makes Christmas magical. And then
Yeah.
he fires Betty. He's like, if you're gonna talk back to me, like, I guess I don't need a head elf anymore because Christmas doesn't matter anymore, right? And he like fires her, but he also lost the coat. Like he doesn't have Santa's coat, so she finds Santa's coat and she's like, I think we need to send him, is what she says.
Yeah.
And then the very last shot is like Scott Calvin talking to his family, and all of a sudden everything freezes, and like a gloved hand comes and taps him on the shoulder, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? What is happening?
oh fuck, I gotta watch this shit now. Damn it. Well, so like Bernard's gonna show up eventually because
Maybe that's who it is. Maybe it's Bernard
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
dressed up. But yeah, I'm
'Cause
very
people were
interested.
confused. They were like, Bernard's an elf. How can he age? And that motherfucker looks way different than he did as a kid.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I am curious to see where they go with this.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying it. It's almost like I'm hate watching it, but like I do want to know, like, are they gonna? His kids are doing great, so it's like they want to be here. Like, does he like kind of go back to the North Pole? Like, is this the end of, like, I don't know. There's only 2 more episodes to find out, so I'm just gonna hate watch the next like 25 minutes of these. Obviously, everyone listening has either not watched it at all or already knows the answer
it's
to these
done.
questions.
Sorry. Like-
But whatever. It is what
I
it
had
is.
to do
All
it,
right.
man.
So, happy Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, Dylan.
Happy Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special to you too, man.
Oh, whoa, oh, oh, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Have a happy holiday, have a great, great, great holiday, have a merry, 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 happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.